In this episode of The Frieze, a recap of the first 10 games of the season, and we'll take a look at where the Yankees stand. Also, a preview of the upcoming series with the Detroit Tigers. Anthony Volpe annihilates a grand slam, and then we've got your viewer voicemails. Sounds like Yankees fans are getting a little bit frustrated. I'm Derek, and this is The Frieze.
Good afternoon. How do y'all like that?
And a miss on 1-2-2.
All right, let's talk about the first 10 games of the season. 10 games is too early to start panicking about wins and losses. 5-5 actually isn't that bad because you played 7 games against the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. So I'm not really concerned about the record at this point. What I am concerned about is more of the same patterns from what we've seen from the past few years. And when we get to your voicemails, you'll see that a lot of people are sharing this opinion. The Yankees have their lowest run total through 10 games in 45 years. Now, it's hard to believe this, but 45 years ago was 1977. Yankees did win the World Series that year, and again in 1978. So that shows you that, it's a small sample size, things can still turn around. But just one RBI so far for Aaron Judge. Maybe he's feeling the pressure a little bit of playing for that big contract. Some guys have enormous contract years, and some guys kind of feel the pressure and want to put up the numbers and maybe try and do a little bit too much. I think that's what we're seeing so far from Aaron Judge. And the constant lineup changes seem to be really getting on the nerves of Yankees fans. And I think it's a valid objection because at this point they've been doing it for the last couple of years, and it hasn't been successful. You can't out-analytic a team when you just don't have enough good quality balance of righty-lefty, of contact and power, of patience and aggressiveness in the lineup. You got too many guys striking out. The team batting average, and I know batting average isn't super important these days, but you can see that there's a correlation. The team is hitting .229, and the low run total, you got to get hits, guys. You got to get hits with runners in scoring position. The pitching, as we said in the postgame yesterday, has been mostly solid. 2.53 team ERA, and Nestor Cortes still throwing up goose eggs. It's looking like we might have 3 really good top-end starting pitchers on this team. Garrett Cole, Luis Severino is back, baby. Let's just hope he stays healthy. And then you got Nestor Cortes now really stepping up and proving that last year was not a fluke, just dealing. And then you got Jordan Montgomery, 3.24 ERA. Jameson Taillon has looked good 2 times in a row, and I think once he gets stretched out, you're going to see one of those runs like he had last year in July. The bullpen, for the most part, has been pretty good. Loaisiga, though, has struggled, 8.44 ERA. Don't read too much into that. The stuff is still there. I think he's struggling with command. It might be a thing where it's like he didn't get enough innings in spring training, and he's just kind of off a little bit. But he's still throwing hard. He's still got a good hook. Mike King has been dominating, as has Clay Holmes, really, for that matter. The sinker ballers are doing fantastic, and I'm loving the direction that the Yankees are going with the bullpen. Overall, 30 runs scored, 29 runs allowed, 5-5 record, the very definition of mediocre through the first 10 games. Big moment for one of the Yankees' top prospects, Anthony Volpe, really the top prospect on a lot of lists. Got off to a bit of a slow start in Double-A. He's just 5 for 32 to start the season, but he hit a big grand slam yesterday. His first home run at the Double-A level, his 30th career minor league home run in 565 at-bats. And I thought this was interesting because if you take a major league season, 565 at-bats is not an abnormal number. That's pretty much a full major league season. And so far, Anthony Volpe's minor league career numbers are pretty crazy. 269 average, not amazing, but thrown off a little bit by this year's slow start. and his introductory rookie ball. 398 on base percentage. That's really good. 933 OPS, 30 home runs, 103 RBIs, and 40 stolen bases. That's in 151 career games in the minor leagues. So again, basically what you would get over the course of a full season. And that's pretty good numbers. So you can see why he is a top prospect. Big grand slam for the 20-year-old. Hopefully he continues to improve. It looks like it was pretty cold. You saw the half ski mask. So hopefully as it warms up, we'll see more offensive improvement from Anthony Volpe. All right, quick preview of the Detroit Tigers. They are off to a 4-5 start. You can see they've allowed many more runs than they've scored. 28 runs scored, 40 runs allowed. They are in second place in the AL Central. Couple of interesting notes. The Yankees will miss Casey Mize, who is on the IL, and they will also miss Javier Baez, who is on the IL. He got off to a pretty good start, hitting .316 this year after signing that big contract, but the Yankees are not going to see him. They will see Miguel Cabrera, who has 2,995 hits in his great career. Non-zero chance that he gets to 3,000 hits against the Yankees. In fact, I'm willing to bet he will. He hits the Yankees pretty well. And Spencer Torkelson is somebody that I'm excited to watch for the first time. 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, number 1 draft pick, big-time college hitter. Massive power for this kid. He is the new starting first baseman for the Detroit Tigers. And he's got one of my favorite names ever. Spencer Torkelson. That's fun to say.
Yeah, hi. My name's Don from Colorado. Sell the team, fire Cashman. It's the worst construction of a team with a salary of $250 million. He had an opportunity to improve in the off season. He didn't do it. Pretty much brought the same team back, although he said there would be major changes after they lost to the Red Sox, and there hasn't been. It's the same. They don't hit with men in scoring position, same as last year. They're going to blow the bullpen out by July. Trade Torres and get what you can, even if it's a box of Cracker Jacks. He dogs it. He's got no hustle, lack of baseball IQ. There's no real chemistry on this team like the Yankee championship teams in the past. They just threw them all together. It's a bunch of players thrown together. There's no fire in their belly. It's pathetic. They're overpriced, old underachievers who don't care about winning.
Tell us how you really feel. So I try not to be that negative. I mean, the team is 500 right now. We knew that they didn't make a lot of changes from last year, so it wouldn't be in our best interest to expect major improvement. They're off to a little bit of a better start record-wise than last year so far. Last year they began 5-12. This year they're 5-5. So as long as they don't go 0 for their next 7, they'll be off to a better start than last year. But the offense, like we said, slowest start in 45 years, I guess. So I think selling the team is probably out of the question at this point, but you have to think that Cashman is going to be feeling the heat if this team doesn't get better real quick.
Hey, my name is John, and I'm just calling about Gleyber Torres. I think Gleyber Torres is encapsulates, I don't know if that's the right word, what is going wrong with this offense since last year. I think he's the number 1 symbol for that. I mean, this guy hit, 38 home runs, 2019, 23 years old. In the playoffs that year, Judge was saying this is going to be the best player on the team. You know, coming out of that season, it was like, this is going to be the guy. And since then, he is not even just an average player, he's a below average player. The hitting is just not there for 3 years now. I mean, this guy should be what Devers is to the Red Sox. I mean, you think about Devers, how he's kind of taken over that team. This should have been Torres' team, and he's just, man, it's just sad. And I think that, not that it's his fault, obviously there's 9 other guys, you know, Gallo's not doing anything, but for me, I think he's the saddest one. But maybe he'll turn it around, maybe not, maybe it'll just be another sad prospect.
I think you're justified in being disappointed with the development or lack thereof from Gleyber Torres. Like you said, 2019 appears to have been a one-off. It might be a little bit of that fool's gold where it looked like this guy was going to become one of the greats in the game, even to the point where some of the fan graphs and other projections were saying that he was going to have A-Rod level numbers in his mid-20s. I remember before the 2020 season got delayed, everyone was looking at Gleyber Torres as somebody who could, maybe hit 40, 42 home runs, maybe hit close to 300. The move to shortstop definitely screwed with him. He gained a bunch of weight over COVID. The last couple of years, he's had some issues that you could point to and say, well, maybe that's why he's not hitting. And this year, all you can say is, well, it's only been 10 games. Hopefully he'll come around. But I'm seeing a lot of the same things from Gleyber Torres. A lot of pop-ups, a long swing. I think that he needs to make some adjustments, and the best place to do that might be AAA, unfortunately, for him. He does look better defensively at second base, but the Yankees got to stop shifting him over to shortstop later in the game. Late in a ball game, you want to tighten your defense, not make it worse, especially in a close game. And having shortstop, the most important position on the field other than your pitcher and possibly your catcher, having that get worse late in the game doesn't make much sense to me.
Hey Derek, this is Nick from Connecticut. I was thinking, look at the Rays lineup. How are the Rays so good? Well, one of the things that they do is they stack their lineup with left-handed hitters. There was one day last year or the year before where their entire lineup was left-handed hitters. And I have a hunch that the reason they do that is because most of the league, I don't know what percentage it is, but it's got to be at least 70% of the starters in the league are right-handed. And I don't know if you could break that down by inning or whatever, how many throws from the mound are coming from a right-handed hitter, but they stack their lineup with lefties, and I wish the Yankees would do that. I wish they would have at least 5, maybe even 6 lefties in the lineup every single day.
I don't blame you either for wishing that there were more left-handed hitters in the lineup. The way that I wish the Yankees would do it is have righty-lefty, righty-lefty, righty-lefty all the way down to the point where you have 5 lefties and 4 righties. And it would be better if some of those lefties were switch hitters. And you've already got one switch hitter. You've got Aaron Hicks. That's one of the reasons I was very excited when we were talking about Brian Reynolds this winter. Not that the Yankees would ever deal the prospects that it would take to get Brian Reynolds, but another really good switch hitter in that lineup would have been fantastic. If you think back to some of the better Yankees teams, they've had lefties up and down the lineup. But you do have a point. If you go back to the most recent championship team, it was Jorge Posada, switch hitter, Mark Teixeira, switch hitter, Robinson Cano, left-handed. So that's 3 lefties right there. Jeter and A-Rod were right-handed. Damon was left-handed, so that's 4. Melky Cabrera, switch hitter. Nick Swisher, switch hitter. And Hideki Matsui, switch hitter. And then off the bench, you had Brett Gardner, lefty. Ramiro Pena, lefty. You also had spark plugs like Jerry Hairston, who was a right-handed hitter, but a contact guy. I feel like you're on the right track. Left-handed hitters are fantastic. Switch hitters, even better. And even better still, if they're pretty good from both sides of the plate. Not every switch hitter is equally good from both sides of the plate. But if you can provide a little bit of a threat from the left-handed batter's box, it's going to make pitchers pitch you much more carefully in Yankee Stadium. And right now, the Yankees are just too right-handed. Even though you do have Gallo, he's one of those guys, when he hits it, the porch isn't going to make much of a difference because he's going to hit it 440 feet. Problem is, he just doesn't hit it enough. I think Hicks has looked really good this year. I know he caught a lot of heat early, and he's hit into some tough double plays, and I've been kind of rough on him, but I actually think Aaron Hicks is looking really good this year. So that's one really positive outcome so far this season. Let's see if he can stay on the field. But the Yankees do need to get more left-handed bats. That's one of the reasons I'm really high on prospect Trey Sweeney. He's an advanced college hitter. Austin Wells, same deal. But Austin Wells has had some trouble defensively behind the plate. He's got a bad elbow. So I don't know how quickly you can get him to the major leagues and if he'd even get here as a catcher. Traditionally, first base is a spot where the Yankees have a good left-handed hitter, and that is the case this year. But you would like it if you had one or two more good left-handed hitters. So I agree with you.
Hey, Derek. My name is Rolly from Long Island, New York. Love your show. Appreciate the content that you do for us as fans. Just this loss with the Orioles. I mean, losing 2 out of 3. This is just pathetic. I mean, some people are going to say, well, it's only 8 games into the season, whatever it is, 8 or 9 games into the season. We still got time. No, this is a recurring theme for the last 2 seasons where we're not hitting. It's either home run or nothing. I'm sick and tired of the way this team is, man. This team is poorly constructed. Something has to be done. We're not winning a World Series with this team.
Again, nothing that you said about the roster construction is wrong. I think there are major problems with the way this team has been built, not only this season, but the last couple of years.
What's up, Derek? It's Izzy, man. I can't stand what the Yankees are doing right now. They need to fix that offense and fix it quick, or else we're not going to make the playoffs. This is depressing.
Hi, Derek. Franco from Florence again. Yeah, this is getting ridiculous. Losing to the Orioles. It looks like Torres, by what you just said, is a fraud. We got to bring the kids up. And this is the last year for Cashman. I've seen enough. This is ridiculous. $250 million payroll and into double plays, like you said. Enough's enough.
Hey, man, this is Josh from Jersey. When are the New York Yankees going to realize that this analytically driven mumbo-jumbo mashup of a lineup they create is not going to work?
In regards to Joey Gallo, all I got to say is this. The teams have adjusted to Joey Gallo, and they've altered their pitching and their defense to him. So now it's his turn to adjust to them. Otherwise, he's going to get the same results that he's been getting for, since last year, really, when he joined the Yankees.
Hey, Derek, this is Chris from Connecticut. Love the show, man. Keep it up. Listen, we're 10 games into the season, and I'm already depressed about the direction this team's going. First of all, I think Gallo and Gleyber need to be benched, period, full stop. They look a loss at the plate, and the offense can't afford to keep them in the lineup anymore. I mean, how long do you have to wait to see that? DJ should be the starting second baseman. I would bring up Andahar and Florio and platoon them in left field. I think trading Gallo is a great idea. Trade him for a prospect, whatever you can get. We can't do any worse without him. I mean, at this point, bad enough with Gleyber's pop-ups. His swing is atrocious, man. What is he doing at the plate? The corporate Yankees need a shakeup. Lose the stupid facial hair rule. Get younger players in the lineup, and let's go, man. Also, you're right about hoarding prospects. I would hate to be in the Yankee system right now. It seems like they intentionally force these guys to stay there as long as possible. We need an fusion of youth, man. I mean, this is ridiculous. Let's go, guys.
Hey, Derek. Hope all is well. Thanks again for all the time you put in and the work you do. It's much appreciated. Just had a thought. A couple of years ago, the Yankees were 10-0 in games when Chad Green opened for them. I'm thinking, why not put Chapman in a few of those games, have him open some games, instill some confidence, and advise pitchers like Nestor, Tyone, and Montgomery some time, and maybe even Luis Severino to go into the 6th inning because they'll start in the 2nd inning. Again, just thinking Chapman may be suited for an opener now and then.
All right, thanks for all your questions and comments, guys. As far as Chapman opening, I don't see that happening. I think that he's more suited for the end of the ball game. I'm a little bit worried that he might not be 100% healthy. He might be dealing with some blister problems again, something along those lines, because the velocity was down. The breaking ball was not as sharp the last couple of times out. So hopefully these couple of days off buys him some time to get right, and we'll see the real Chapman in Detroit.